So if you really don't want your face to be seen, you can turn off your video on the recording while we're recording. Okay, so now we're going to have Nick to lead us in prayer.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. Thank you very much. And thanks for bringing us together here. It's really kind of you to take the lead. I was trying to think about what to say for an opening prayer, and I was turning on the news today and seeing a world and a country filled with increasing turmoil. And I thought today perhaps a good opening prayer could be that may the one who rules the universe and makes us holy spread over us and amongst us a haven of peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy with your commandment to love our neighbor as our friend.
Great. Thank you. So the type in the chat thing.
Oh, yes. Would you please type into the chat where you're joining from us tonight, what your faith tradition is or no faith at all, and how you heard about the event. If you just put that into chat, that'd be great, and then we can all read that and then take notice of it.
That would be our virtual introduction, because our program is really tight tonight. So you can just type in the chat so we know where you are from. And oh, thank you, Ruth. Everyone else, please type in the chat where you're joining us from tonight, and your faith tradition as well, or an organization that you might be representing, and how did you hear about our event tonight? Thank you. Okay, so I want to, while you're doing that, I want to say a few words about the Interfaith Circle. So the Interfaith Circle, how it came to be, it's a group of, well, friends from different faith traditions that I have actually. And we started a number of years ago, and we oftentimes will get together, have dialogue meetings, and go to different even interfaith events together and whatnot, and sometimes celebrate, have parties and what, different things. So since COVID hits, we haven't been meeting much. So we kind of now we're trying to restart, and also bring a new beginning to our group. So we used to call Interfaith Friends Group as well. So the purpose is that the friends from our different faith backgrounds coming together to learn about one another's faith traditions through dialogue, as well as to connect and collaborate with other peoples of faiths, and it's a chance for us to network with one another and even collaborate to do events together later on, and also to build supportive and long-lasting friendships together. And sometimes it's really to celebrate the joys we have, if someone's birthday, or support one another in difficult times. If someone's family member, has lost a family member, or just real life issues, So this, we try to build relationship, with each other through dialogue, prayer, social activities, social service activities too during long COVID times, and attending each other's events, and a lot of other activities like movie nights, going to iftar dinners together, running Hanukkah parties, and then or things like tonight, having an interfaith musical that we want to learn, or an interfaith activism that we can learn about. So tonight, this is our plan. So we're going to learn about Interfaith the musical, with a chance to dialogue with its creator, Ruth. And then we're going, after that, we're going to brainstorm together events that we want to see this group doing. And also, we can also think about dialogue topics that we want to, learn from each other, traditions. And then we also want to open our invitation to you if you want to join our planning team to basically plan this Interfaith Circle group together to vision, to plan and to organize it. So if you are not able to stay until the end, and if you're interested in joining us or learning more about the planning team, feel free to email me. Our email is already posted there in the chat, and then we'll go from there. So now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Ruth. I'm going to say a few words about Ruth. Okay. So Ruth is honored internationally for her passionate interfaith activism and leadership. Her name is, I'm not sure if I pronounced this right. I'm going to try, Ruth Brodye Sharone.
Brodye Sharone, close enough.
Okay, great, thank you. She's a filmmaker, a journalist, and author, and is also the creator of Interfaith the Musical, an exuberant celebration of our cultural religious diversity. And volume 1 of the musical was released in 2015 and volume 2 in December of 2021. So in recognition of Ruth's contributions to bridge building, she was inducted into the Martin Luther King Advisory Board of Morehouse College in 2013. And in 2015, she received a special commendation for her interfaith leadership from Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. So Ruth also pioneered groundbreaking interfaith pilgrimages to the Middle East in the 90s and served as the co-chair of Southern California Parliament of the World's Religions for 10 years. Her documentary, God and Allah Lead to Talk, and her interfaith memoir, Minefields and Miracles, have both received multiple awards. She contributed to more than 50 articles to the online magazine, The Interfaith Observer, and co-authorized the 2018 Amazon bestseller, 21st Century Voices, Women Who Influence, Inspire, and Make a Difference. So now we introduce Ruth to share your story with us.
So my first I-centered statement is I'm delighted to be with all of you. I thank Vivian for inviting me, and I have special affection for Toronto because I first became acquainted with the community through Paul McKenna and Scarborough Mission. I was invited to speak there many years ago. I showed the film God and Allah Need to Talk. And then I was there again for a NAIN conference, North American Interfaith Network Conference. And then I was there again for the Toronto Parliament in 2018. And always very impressed by the, I would say, creative and exciting participation of people from Toronto, from the interfaith community. You do have many, many people who are dedicated, who are, I used to call myself an interfaith junkie, but I decided maybe that was not the best terminology. But you do have many people in Toronto who for decades have been fascinated and committed to interfaith engagement, like myself. And once I got involved, and Vivian and I talked about this, there's no turning back. You know, when you feel you've been tapped on the shoulder and you feel the calling for it, then everybody you meet who is involved in this work, it becomes a brother and sister immediately. It's very clear they were all part of the same soul family that has been asked to bring people of all faiths together to orchestrate that. And speaking of orchestration and music, before we share some of the videos that I prepared, I want to tell you a little bit of this magical experience that led me to write a musical when that was not my intention, that was not in my thoughts, and it was certainly not in my professional career path. As Vivian mentioned, I've been a filmmaker and a journalist and author for most of my life. And I wrote so many articles about interfaith communities around the world for the Interfaith Observer. And I always was pleased to discover people who were in some of the really remote places like Fargo, North Dakota, where they have an interfaith group there, and to write about it, to share it. But I always felt that somehow we were missing talking to mainstream America, mainstream Canada, mainstream whatever, wherever we were working. And so then by, I should say, divine intervention, I call it my cosmic download, I started receiving music on my walks, and the music all had to do with interfaith engagement, with both the joys and the challenges of it. And I didn't quite understand at the beginning what it was all about, because it seemed rather strange that I would, at this point in my life, suddenly start writing music like that. But after 30 songs, a friend of mine who's a professional musician and composer and won an Academy Award for his work, I would see him and his family often, and the kids would always start singing the songs immediately after I shared them. And he said, you know, you have a musical there. And that's when the light bulb went on. And I thought, well, of course, if we want to reach the maximum number of people, we want to do it in the theaters through the arts, where they're coming for entertainment. And at the same time, I call them unsuspectedly, they're going to be delivered also an important message about peaceful coexistence and about friendships that exist crossing all the boundaries. And that's when I understood that my selection for this particular role was not based on my musical background, although I play the piano and I also love music like everybody here, I'm sure, but it had to do with my many years of being involved in interfaith, of actually spearheading many events, and many of them centered around the arts, because I always felt that the academic programs, which are valuable, and the meeting and greeting valuable, but something special happens when you deliver a message through the arts, be it film, dance, poetry, music, all of them, all of the arts. And when I used to go around to the college campuses, and I would screen the film God and Ellie to Talk, I had a special formula for creating that program, which I didn't think about until later. The first thing I always did was I introduced music played by two people or more from different faiths. So immediately the audience got the message that here was harmony created by people from different religious faiths, but musically they came together in one splendid, exquisite form. And so even before the program started, the official program, people were introduced to the idea of interfaith harmony. And then we would always end with music as well. And then in the middle, there would be a film, there would be discussion, etc., refreshments. So I still believe that what is going to pull us out of our current state, and not just because of the pandemic, but our inability to really recognize the beauty of one another, is I believe that it's going to be through the arts. And so this is my way of hastening. They say now there's a quickening of time. I've noticed that time seems to have been going faster now than ever before. And this is the way I want to hasten the arrival of, I don't want to say the interfaith Messiah, because I don't want to step on any toes, but what I'm really saying about it is I think that our movement has grown exponentially in the last 30, 40 years. Those of you who've been around for some of that time, you know that there was a moment when if you said interfaith, people would say, what's that? Or they think it's a Christian man marrying a Jewish woman or a Muslim woman. And now people are starting to really understand the concept of what interfaith engagement is. And so to promote that aspect and to reach people through their hearts, I'm offering this musical. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the story, just briefly about the theme, because it touches on the very first thing that Vivian did when she opened this meeting. she read for you the acknowledgement that we are on Indigenous land and we are grateful and we recognize the need for partnership and for reconciliation and so forth. And so the story is that the protagonist is Maya, who's a very, very, I should say, enthusiastic interfaith leader, and has devoted all of her life to that. And she's hoping to build an interfaith center. And has been widowed recently, and her 19-year-old daughter, Tamar, shocks her when she comes and she reveals that she's in love with a Native American man. So even though her mother, Maya, has been promoting interfaith engagement, suddenly, you know, the expression, not in my backyard, suddenly the thought of her daughter marrying outside of the Jewish faith is devastating to her. And so at the same time, Stargazer, who is the young Indigenous man, his father, who is the leader of a tribe, is also equally insistent that his son marry someone from the tribe and not an outsider. So you have kind of a West Side Story, Romeo and Juliet situation where both the parents are totally opposed to this union. And you have a deep love between these two young people who are people of the future. And the question is, will the parents come around, and will the children find a way to honor their parents' desire to continue tradition? And those are painful questions. It's not just the excitement of learning about another faith, but what happens when people from different faiths fall in love, and how do they navigate that challenging path of not just being together and sharing their traditions, but once they have children, what happens then? It's very fraught with a lot of problems, and I'm sure you've all seen films about that. But now it's in music, and it's at the same time a really joyous celebration of who we are, of our magnificent diversity. And I think I'll stop for now, and we'll share it, perhaps the video, and then I'll take questions or talk about the subject with anybody who would like to ask me questions.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. Yeah, speaking of you talking about interfaith marriage, I remember doing a dialogue a long time ago with Nurai, actually is with us tonight, and your lovely husband, Julius. Yeah, so that's a true reality of people, you know, of different faiths married together, and what are you going to do? Like, you know, how are you going to raise your children? Right? This faith, that faith, or no faith? Right? Let them decide, because that's a real question, right? So that's something that we do you know, that's something that we can really, you know, hear a lot and dialogue on a lot. So now I'm going to share screen and try to play the video. Just bear with me a moment. And so going to, and I have to hide these things apparently. Nick, are we good? Can you see anything
Yes,
not
a second, I'm
necessary?
just shutting off the subtitles, because I got to
Okay.
shut off the subtitles, but it's I couldn't figure out how to do this.
Hide subtitles, you know, in the closed captioning, like the closed captioning.
Yeah, but for me, but not for you.
Oh, okay. So
now, Aaron, you want to turn them on, you can't turn them off, so you have to hide them on your end, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay, so remember, if you need to hide the subtitles, at the bottom of your screen, there's a closed captioning or live transcript button. And on that button, there's a small arrow. Click on it, and you can select hide subtitles to hide them. Okay, we suggest you to do that before we begin. Okay, I give you 3 seconds. Okay, we'll start. You feel okay?
What if, when you awoke, you could imagine not being right? What if we all could see the beauty of one expanding humanity? What if?
wearing a stranger's shoes? What if, when you awoke, you shared your enemy's extremist views?
We have more in common than we knew. We have more in common than we knew. We're a Muslim and a Jew, but we have more in common than we knew. What if my children go astray? What if they choose another way?
I'm spiritual, but not religious.
Oh my God, she's delirious. I'm a Buju. I'm Buddhist and I'm Jewish. I'm a Buju.
Because there ain't no monopoly on spirit. You preach end times just cause you fear it.
Let's make room at the table. We can stretch it if need be until everyone is seated at the table of humanity.
Hi, I'm Ruth Brodye Sharone, creator of Interfaith the Musical. And like all of you, I am very concerned about the state of the world and the state of our earth, our Pachamama. And so as I was writing the musical, I felt compelled to include a song about the environment. Not just because of my own personal concern, but because I've also seen how the interfaith movement has rallied behind the cause of confronting this environmental crisis, putting aside all of their religious differences to come together in common cause. After all, we are all the custodians of the earth. And because I always knew that the cast of the musical would be made up of people of vastly diverse backgrounds, I was especially pleased to find two very talented Asian Americans, Leo and Jason, one a singer, one a rapper, who would perform this song. Right now, the world is embroiled in so much racism and religious violence, and we have seen a rise in anti-Asian sentiment across America. It's very, very disturbing. And so this song, when I wrote it, seems especially relevant now. So I'd like to invite you into the recording studio with Casey DeGirdas, my arranger and music director, and you'll have a chance to hear the two young men rehearsing It's Not a Game. Enjoy. Thank you.
You have stripped the forests of their trees. You have robbed the coral from the seas. You have compromised the honeybees. You're to blame, bear the shame. It's not a game. You have hungry children left to feed. You consume resources you don't need, and you justify your global greed. You're to blame, bear the shame. It's not a game. What have you done to the earth, my friends? Where did you go wrong? And what will your life be worth, my friends, when the swallow cannot sing your sweet song? What have you done to your soul, my friends? You have lost your way. You cannot make things whole, my friends, if we are living just for today.
What's the cost of your global onslaught? What's the lot of the cattle that you slaughtered just to stay on top? Lost are the eras of the wild and free. Now we face the brink of the next Pleistocene, and the scene is grim. The odds of our survival run from low to slim. And you leveraged our forests for recordings and a mortgage. I hear those who came before us raise their witness like a chorus. Consider the rivers that once flowed here. Now all I see is concrete and corner stores here. We used to set bare feet on the sticks and stones. Now you clothe them in plastic and hide in your homes. We used to roam, we didn't need to build Rome. You wanted a factory, the ground was the coals. What's the cost of this global onslaught? The lot of the cattle for to stay on top.
What have you done to the earth, my friends?
Yeah, what have you done?
What will your life be worth, my friends?
Living just for the day, you have no past. Just for the day, there's nothing that lasts.
What have you done to your soul, my friends?
Just in the day, you have no past. Just for the day, there's no way to last.
You cannot make things whole, my friends. If you are living just for today, just for today.
We have been waiting, anticipating. Will the one special one come today? We have been hoping, but barely coping in a world that's gone astray. And what if the one special one never comes? And what if we discover that we ourselves are the ones we have been waiting for? Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together. Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together. Not just now and then, but all the time, not just if and when, but all the time, not just if we can, but all the time together. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. Everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together. Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together. Not just now and then, but all the time, not just if and when, but all the time, not just if we can, but all the time together. We are the ones we We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
This song is very special to me. I am Jewish and very committed to my faith. And because I work widely in the interfaith community, I have encountered many people who feel just as strongly about their faith as I feel about mine. So this song gave me an opportunity to enter deeply into the heart of someone who is devoted to their religious tradition. And even though it's not mine, I can totally understand it.
If you're going around the bend and you reach the end, you're in need of a friend, then you come to the right place. Come to the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you. Baptize you first, God will quench your thirst, and the devil will be cursed. You come to the right place. Then you come to the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you.
Can you tell me what this song that you're singing today means to you?
It means a lot to me because I wasn't supposed to be alive when I was a baby. I almost died in crib death, and my grandmother and God brought me back, my great-great-grandpa. And then I ended up having typhoid fever. They was not looking for me to live then. Put it like this, I'm a cat past 9 lives in my life today. I've had strokes, heart attacks, major heart attack, 2010, I almost passed. I've had 3 kids. They would have made it, but I wouldn't have if it wasn't for the good Lord. Jesus is here for you. Jesus is here for you. Oh, yes, he's here. Jesus is here for you. Yeah, for you. They did surgery on me with her still in me at 6 months pregnant to take my appendix out. So I saw, when they put me to sleep, I saw the light, and they thought I was gone then with my daughter still in me. And when I came to, it was a miracle because it was a black doctor who came in General Hospital. I had been there for 2 days in the lobby with my appendix about to erupt. And this black doctor walked in, and he was an Indian doctor with a big white natural white coat, and he just touched me, and he says, how long has this lady been laying here? And they said, for 2 days. And he said, get her ready for surgery right now. So when they got me ready, I saw the light and I heard the voice, and he let me know, it's not time for you to come home yet. You still got work to do. Oh, they thought they had lost me. He's like, we're so glad to have you back, Miss Bell. I was like, I'm glad to be back. Okay, where's the doctor? The doctor with the big natural, and he's an Indian. And the doctor looked at me, he says, I'm your doctor. And he was a Caucasian with glasses. I was like, no, you're not. You're not my doctor. Where is the doctor with the big natural? And it was like, I asked a nurse, I asked everybody that was around in General Hospital. And that was my angel again, to save me and bring me back. Jesus is here for you. Oh, yeah. This song means a lot to me because every time I went through anything in life, I always say, God, if you get me out of this, I'll do better. If you're not quite sure, but your motives are pure, and your soul needs a cure, then you come to the right place. Then you come to the right place. I've been through a lot, but thank God I am still here.
And Jesus is here for you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Jesus has the devil be cursed.
Right.
Can we try that?
Okay. Devil be cursed. The devil be cursed.
Do you understand, though, that the person who wrote that song, right, is not Christian?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're not for real. They did good. Even if they're not Christian, they wrote it from the heart. For our iniquities he died, but rest assured he's still alive. When you open up your heart, Jesus will play his part. It's a beautiful song. Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year, everyone. You might have seen that Happy Chinese New Year thing there.
Yeah, happy Chinese New Year.
It was yesterday. Okay, so yeah, so that's beautiful. Ruth, this is really, really from the heart, just as you know, the video says. So now it brings us to the I think we actually cut short on the Q&A a little bit because I think we're overrun by 5 minutes, but that's fine. So now it's bringing us to our if you have any questions for Ruth, or if you have a feeling that you want to share after watching this video, feel free. You can just unmute and speak, or you can raise your virtual hand, using the reactions button at the bottom. And or you can just type the question in the chat if that's what you like.
Right, and just to let people know, you can get CDs, both volume 1 and 2, or if you would like streaming music instead, it's all available on the website, interfaithmusical.com. So please check it out.
So any questions?
Okay, you got a question?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for introducing me to us about this video and your project, because personally this is exactly what I would like to pursue for my thesis at U of T. I want to create interfaith dialogue based on mysticism. It started when I visited Jerusalem, and then when I was introduced to concepts of Pardes and also Kabbalah mysticism, or like Shekinah, the feminine aspect of God and stuff. And initially began with interfaith dialogue between Judaism and Christianity, but now I want to like create one for all religions, and through mysticism, that was my project. But when you're talking about like the music just came to me when I was walking, that's very similar to what mystics have guessed how they get their inspirations. So I was just wondering if you consider your experience as mystical, like for personal interest for me.
Absolutely. I just don't have any other explanation for it. I kept looking for different words so that I could convey it to people. And so I would say cosmic download, mystical right. Would be the same, but I'll tell you what I've also been in my public speaking since this happened. I've been sharing a crisis I had when I was working on the musical. And I think that bears repeating. Vivian, do we have enough time for me, a couple of moments for me to go into that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
Because since I believed all this was being channeled through me and I was the vehicle, but I didn't believe I was the initiator of it, right? And so, but then when my friend said you have a musical, so I thought, well, what do? I have all this music. So I signed up for musical boot camp in Hollywood. And the first thing my instructor said to me, and she's a director and she's been working in this field for a long time, she said, you won't be happy with what I'm going to tell you, Ruth, but put all your music aside. I know you have an album. I know you have 11 songs. Put all your music aside and just write a good story. And then you'll see where the music fits in. And so I said, well, I don't know whether I can do this. She said, well, look, you might find that some of the songs you wrote are perfect, but some of the songs may not work. And then you might find that you need to write a new song that you haven't written yet. And when she said that, I remember freezing inside, and I thought to myself, and I said out loud, how can I do that? Now, she didn't understand that because I had written all the songs. So she said, well, just the way you wrote the other songs. So I went home and I stopped the entire process. I was paralyzed. And I'm sure other people have felt that too. Sometimes they have the muse or they have this inspiration, and then suddenly it seems to dry up. And then they think, well, what am I going to do? And then I started having a lot of self-doubts. Am I a fraud? Am I a fake? Will people realize that I can't really do this? And I was so unhappy, and I didn't sleep, and I really didn't know what to do until I had this epiphany that the music had flowed through me, but that there was, I call it the eternal well of creativity that exists for everyone, every person ever created, because we were created by God and we are in the image of God. So that makes us creators as well. So then I thought, well, if I already wrote 30 songs from that well, why can't I go back to that same well? It's still there. I just think I can't access it, but it's still there. And so I sat down purposefully and I wrote a song in 20 minutes. I call it A Song of Peace. It's not on the album, but it's a song that I submitted to for another project. And after 20 minutes, I said to myself, I can do this. And I want everybody out there to know you can do it too. It's not limited to only a few select elite individuals in the world. That well of creativity is always there. And so writing this musical was also proving something to me about who we are as human beings, as Homo sapiens, as people that have mystical connections, if we want to accept them. There are people that will say, oh, Ruth, you just wrote songs, don't make such a big deal about it. You didn't get it from the cosmos. You didn't get it from any divine source. You just wrote songs, right? There are people that will say that, but you remember there's a famous saying by Einstein that that people who say everything is coincidental, but coincidence is just God's way of remaining anonymous. And for me, and I think for anybody who is involved in this great enterprise of interfaith engagement and like, I don't know your name, Paul? Yes, of your personal search is like, it comes out of a place where you start to realize that that the religions may see it differently, but it's basically the same originating, powerful download that is available to everybody. And even animals have it. We've seen that in animals too. We've seen that in communication between people and animals. And we've even seen that with plants who respond to classical music and grow towards the music. But if they hear, hard rock, they're going to grow in a different direction because it disturbs them. So we see that we're all connected. And so I want to encourage everybody who's out there, if you ever have writer's block or you're stumped and you feel that you can't go on, that you recall my experience and you remember, no, it's always there. We can always access it. We just need to regain our confidence that we can go there. And I think that's something beautiful that interfaith can teach us all too. There's an interfaith message in that as well, because it's not limited to just one group of people.
Yeah, what's amazing is like no matter what faith traditions or what cultural backgrounds you come from, the creativity is the same. and we all share this one same humanity, and that's the gift that God gave to all of us. Like the gift may be a little bit different for each person, but it's when we are together, then we become, more complete. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that great question, Paul.
Yeah. So what are you studying, Paul?
Thank you. Sorry?
What are you studying?
What am I studying? I'm in theology. So I was in searching for Kabbalah and Sefer Yetzirah and all these ancient texts and mysticism too. And then because people say it started in medieval period, but I mean, like, if you look into it, it started like way earlier. And I'm also looking into Sufism. So I feel like there's what interfaith dialogue is trying to find is the commonality. And for me, the commonality can be found in mysticism because it's very less, it uses least amount of dogmas and doctrines for me. So yeah.
We do have a Sufi friend here. You might know.
I know.
Kareem's our Sufi friend.
We brought Sufi and Jewish, both mystics, from San Francisco down to Los Angeles. The Imam and the Rabbi, we called it, and they had met each other because the Rabbi wanted to learn Arabic, and the Muslim man agreed to teach him, and in the process they became bosom buddies. They were just so close and aligned, and we brought them down, and there were several hundred people that came to listen to them speak. And what was so beautiful is it didn't really matter what the audience asked them or what they answered. What you saw was the relationship between them as two soul brothers, right? And at one point, someone asked what to do about all the hatred in the world and how to resolve the problem of racism and all that. And so the Sufi said, "Don't ask us, we're mystics." Answer that. You have to answer that, because from their point of view, all those differences were negligible. You know what I mean? There was just where they came together was just one pure incandescent source of light that they picked up from like, facets of a diamond. They were at different places, but they experienced the same light, and they knew they were connected on the same face of the same diamond. And it was so clear, and they loved each other. And that was what the audience got more than anything else. Not so much what the dialogue was, although that was fascinating, but that their relationship was so beautiful. And we could see how they were modeling what could be, not just between the two of them, but between everybody in the world.
Yep. So that's also why, Paul, you have to stay with our dialogue, so we can continue to have all these conversations and dialogues with our Sufi friends. So Earl, you have a question? You have to.
Yes. Maybe a question and then kind of a comment. Like I thought I don't know how long it took you. I didn't quite get it out of the conversation, but I gather it was a few years. But I loved it because, and I heard bits of it before, and I've been to a couple of interfaith conferences where you've shown it. And for some reason, this is the first time really I had a chance to really listen to it. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was just amazing how you brought so much harmony and together in that whole idea of a spirituality that brings us together on so many common themes. And that was really good. My founder, Hubbard, says, art is it can be defined as the quality of communication. So you certainly have quality.
Art is Scientology.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, yeah.
So
listen, I have to tell you something about. I wanted to share something when I shared the song at the Toronto Parliament, and I mentioned the beginning of the song goes, "What about the Rastafarians, the Brahmakumaris, and Baha'i?" And then it goes through about 30 different religions, because another song I wrote had mentioned most of the religions, but the Baha'is weren't mentioned. And then they said, "What about us?" And I thought, oh my God, I have to mention more people. Well, I mentioned the Scientologists, and I mentioned Reverend Moon, and I mentioned, like 30 more religions. And afterwards, the young people from the Scientology movement came up and stood and waited to speak to me to say thank you. Thank you for mentioning us. And I realized that although I had a disclaimer, I said I did research and there are 4,273 religions in the world and I can't mention all of them. But I realized how important it is for people to feel included.
Yes, I agree.
That includes atheists, free thinkers, and people who you think don't even care. They care. My experience meeting with atheists is that they feel alienated and they feel separated from the people of faith. And they feel that people of faith think of them as being lesser because they don't believe in God or they don't have a faith, and they don't appreciate that they too care about being good parents. They care about the world. They care about a lot of the same things, but not on the same terms. So that's something I hope that this group eventually will be able to invite people from the free thinkers, humanists community, and also have these dialogues, because let's make room at the table. That's what that song is about.
Well, one of the things we often
Thank
talk about, in theology is, the anonymous Christians, right? Like people who may not have an actual, belief in a God, but that doesn't mean that they're bad people. Like, as long as they live according to conscience, according to, trying to be good people, that's already, that's already good. We're already sharing the same humanity that we should. Shaila, what's this question? How many religions? 274?
4,273. At last count, there might be more now.
4,000, how many?
4,273. That was when I looked a few years ago.
There are thousands and thousands of different religions in the world, possibly millions, and that's just the Jews.
I guess we can say that for the Christians too.
That's why Jewish people love the song "I'm a Buju." Why choose only one when you can choose to forget the pros and cons when they're all true?
I've been sitting here in the background listening, and that last line cracked me up. That's great. Thank you so much. That made it all.
I love your background. What is that background? It's beautiful.
It's just a picture. You can load them up as it is, and actually got multiple screens going. So
you are the light at the end of the tunnel, according to your photo.
No, it's someone's asked me this before. It's really easy. You can put any background picture on you want to, using whatever it is. And this came from a cell phone picture that I just simply massaged through something called Prism. It's a cell phone app.
Beautiful,
just
beautiful.
Makes it kind of neat.
It's art, and art speaks to us.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
and
by the way, I'm hoping the libretto will be finished in a few months, and then we're going to start doing what we call a stage reading, which is we read through the entire script, we sing all the songs, but we don't have costumes, choreography, or sets. And then the goal next after that is to get it onto a stage, into a theater. And of course, I hope it will also be shown at some point in Toronto, one of my favorite cities.
Yeah.
And I think we have a great audience for it in Toronto, because you are such a diverse city. I think between Los Angeles and Toronto, we share the honor of being the most diverse cities in the world.
It's true.
Yeah, right.
and that reminds me of, when you talk about the Buju song, it reminds me of Sid. Sid is here with us. Sid always, we always say you're a Buddhist Christian. So it's a how do you say that? Like Busi?
A chubu. A chubu.
No, a Buddhist Christian.
Yeah, a chubu.
Is it chubu?
Or a crispu. A crispu.
Crispu.
Sounds like Krispy Kreme donuts. There's a line in the musical that someone says, well, what happens when you cross a, let's see, when you cross a Muslim with a Buddhist, you get a mubu, right?
Mhm.
And what happens when you cross an atheist with a Christian, right?
Mhm.
That's the question, and the answer is a miracle.
That's so true.
Vivian, I always, can you hear me, Vivian?
Yes, I'm sorry. Who is it? Sid?
People, I got one on the computer.
Galaxy.
And then I got
Oh,
Galaxy.
okay, that's it. Okay, I'll change your name to your name.
I can't leave the bedroom because that's where my main connection. If I go to the living room to put it on, I can't hear you at all,
Oh,
But
yeah, I
wanna-
can hear you.
I'm enjoying everything, but we're just joking about British. I'm a Buddhist Christian. I came from a Buddhist family in German camp and came to Toronto, and I made friends, and I went to a Christian church, and I fell in love with Jesus Christ. And I worked for St. Michael's Hospital washing dishes, and I went to a church, the St. Michael's Cathedral, and I loved the boys' choir, that religion teaches you, doesn't matter which religion, teaches you to be a good person. And I always believe that in order to be the good person you can be, you need to have spirituality. And that's why I love religion, because it puts me up to a higher level than just to say my physical needs. And that's what I truly believe in. And I think anyone should see that. And I see that in all of you. So that's really good, So that's why I enjoy being with the World Interfaith Harmony Week, and to listen to people like you, Ruth, who could write songs. I've been trying to write a song for years, and I still can't write a song.
I can't either. The most I got is 3 lines.
Well,
And then I'm
that's
stuck.
okay. That's a start. That's a start.
Yeah, it
Try
keeps repeating.
writing it when you're in the shower. It's easier to do it in the shower.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to use my guitar to do it though. I'm so tone deaf otherwise.
I wanted to just mention, people always say to me, how can we help support the musical and the work you're doing? And so one of the best ways, of course, is to buy the CDs or get the streaming music. But also just to share the information with people, let them know about it. And then when the time comes, when it's going to be in a theater near you, make sure you organize a big group of people to see it, because this is a message that not will only be entertaining, but it will, I think, be very significant in helping us further our work, something that we're all trying to do. And so help support it in any way you can. And I thank you in advance for that.
Yeah, and this is, yeah, and I posted, I'm going to post this again. This is the link to the Interfaith Musical website where you can get a lot of information. Yeah, and I think, thank you so much. This is a lively conversation, actually. I think we can actually have more time to do this. Oh, Habib actually joined us. Thank you, Habib. I hope your radio show went well. Welcome. Habib is our Muslim friend.
Thank you.
Also Imam. Hey, Habib, how are you?
Did I meet you in Toronto?
Yeah, I met you before. Yeah. So
Yes, I remember. Yes, I recognize you. Yes, nice to see you again.
Yeah, he just ran his radio show or podcast, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking, yeah, and one of the things that we can do with Ruth, with you guys, is that you talk about the stage reading, right? So that will be a fun thing to do. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, because a few communities said to me, well, why can't we do a stage reading here in our own community, where we would get a copy of the script and the libretto. And so for the songs, we'd have to arrange a way for you to plug in the actual music with the songs, because otherwise it would mean you'd have to audition actors, singers, that would be, but to do the stage reading, or just even have someone read the lyrics to the songs so you know what the lyrics are about. One of the things that someone taught me while I was, I'm a filmmaker, so I had to learn the art of writing dramatically for the stage, and I'm still learning, but one of the things someone said to me, when someone sings in a musical, it's because they can't say it in words any longer. It is so powerful, they have to sing it. And so the songs are also not just move the action forward, but they are the inner voice of the character, and they tell you about the character, and they tell you about what the character cares about and worries about and wants. And so you could, even if you didn't have the music per se, you could, if you had the entire libretto, you could have an evening where you would each take different roles. There were about 16 roles for characters. So you could get a lot of people involved. And the other people could be, you could have one group do act 1, and you could have another set of people do act 2, and then you could sit around and talk about the ideas in the play. What I didn't mention is that there is an issue of land ownership having to do with the Native Americans in the play, which is a very relevant and current issue still. And so there are things that come up, which I know, having been to a conference in Toronto that invited people from different Native Indigenous groups to come and speak. I know that in Canada too, you still have a lot of issues to work out about what happened, about how children were kidnapped and forced into schools to try to make them more Canadian, and their language was squashed, and land issues. So there are a lot of places around the world where this is a very current issue. And so these are things that will come up in the reading that you could also spin off into different meetings, where you take a few of the issues and make them into different meetings after you read the play. So I'll be in touch with Vivian, and we'll talk about that as soon as it's done. A few people have asked me why can't we do it, they said. And there's no reason. That would be really a fun activity.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into our next section, which is, brainstorming together about, what do we want to do as a group, like, to build up our friendships and dialogue and, whatever we want to do, right? So let's do a show of hands, like how many people here are interested in doing a stage reading. So raise your virtual hand, not the real one. And at the bottom, in the reactions button, click on it and you can raise your hand. All right, so I'm going to wait a bit and see. Yeah, because sorry, who's speaking?
Where is it?
Oh, yes, Sid.
Can you see?
Okay, Sid, you're saying something? Don't lower your hand yet.
Yeah, Vivian, put me on the iPhone.
Put you on the iPhone?
Yeah.
How do I put you on the iPhone? I have no idea.
There's two phones. I got two. Now that one there probably. No.
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay, so now you can lower your hand. Yeah, so we're going to do a little vote on the different. We pre-thought of some events or things that we can do as a group, so we can get to know each other better, as well as share, learn from each other and build community together. So first is a stage reading. Another one we were thinking of is virtual, because right now everything's virtual during COVID. So virtual prayer walks. So we can have virtual walks to different places of worship, or meaningful locations, like, for example, we can go to the Dundas Square, that's talk about consumerism, and homeless memorial, what's happening with all these things that we don't see sometimes, we're kind of blind to. And the different places of worship, to a mosque, to a church, to a synagogue, so that's a virtual prayer walks. So you can maybe do a raise of hand again, see how many people are interested in this.
Can you see my hand?
Okay, yeah, you can tell me, Sid, if you can raise your hand, I'll add your vote in.
I think actually when the weather calms down and Omicron gets less bad, which is going to happen soon, it probably would be safe to meet outside for walks outside.
Yeah, as long as we're all protected, that's fine. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's 5 people. The other one is 4. Okay, so the next thing, you can lower your hand now, guys. So the next thing is we're thinking of interfaith music evenings, music evening. So maybe we can have an evening. We haven't thought too deeply about this yet, but we can have an evening of us sharing different music with each other. So you can play a song from your tradition. Like if you can't play an instrument or sing, that's fine. You can, you can find something online, a song or a recording that you have, or on a CD or on YouTube, you can play that as well. So it's kind of like, we're showcasing the different music from the different cultural backgrounds that we are in, and we can find it, we can even find a theme, for that and for that evening, and that will be our just being with each other in songs, in music. So who's interested in this one? Raise your hand. Great. Sid?
Sorry, I was just realizing my hand wasn't raised before. I should have been raised before.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, Sid, are you voting?
Yeah, I'm voting. Can you see me now?
Yes. Okay, this is good. Okay, so
My,
now
my hand is raised, but I don't know where it is.
okay, 8. Okay. This is a big one. Me too. Oh, I didn't count myself in. I vote for all of them. Okay, so now you can lower your hands, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the next idea we thought of is movie nights. We can just find a movie, like, like for example, there was a documentary interviewing, well, talking, who is it, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who just passed away, and the Dalai Lama talked about joy, right? So like we can watch a movie together and then have a dialogue after. So a movie that is relevant to what we want to do. So now let's raise your hand if you're interested in this one. I like the different colors of hands. Yeah, we're very interfaith and intercultural too. Sid, are you joining this one?
No, I gotta join you.
Okay, no worries. Okay. Okay, so and then oops, movie night is this one. Okay, so the next one, you can lower your hands now, guys.
Only 5 people want movie nights? What?
Well, some of them we don't have a lot of people. 5 is actually quite a bit. Looking at our numbers here. So the next one I was thinking of is labyrinth. So do you guys know what a labyrinth is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let me actually, I can pronounce it properly. I'm going to spell it out here. Labyrintth, this word. So labyrinth is, it looks like a, yeah, it looks like a circle but it has like a specific road, like a path in the circle. So basically what a labyrinth does is it's a very good way for us to put aside things that bothering us, or maybe things of the world, and then we start walking from the outside, and slowly walking in is a meditative walk. And then as you're going to the to the inside of the circle, like more and more in, you're kind of leaving the things that borders you behind, and leaving the outside world behind, and really going deep into your self-reflection, and some some people like into God's space. And then after a while, in the middle, you slowly walk back out, and then you come back into the world. So that's a labyrinth. So I know someone who's very good at doing a lot of labyrinths, different types. Even there's a finger labyrinth that you can do. So we can invite her to talk with us about that, and maybe share with us what she's doing, or even if and well, we can think about different ways, like if we want to do a labyrinth online. I don't know if that's possible. That's things that we can think about. But basically the person will be coming to talk with us about that. So who's interested in this one? Raise a hand. Great. Yay, coming up more and more. No, that's it. Okay. So the next one, you can lower your hand now. So the next one we're thinking of is Sufi prayer and whirling dervish. I'll just throw it out there. Kareem, our Sufi friend. So maybe we can have an evening where we just kind of experience that. Oh wow, look at the hands. That's great. 7. Okay, so these are basically the events I can think of. So it's not only
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
I think you should invite Paul McKenna to talk about the Golden Rule poster and how it's now in like 40 different languages, right, Paul? Paul, you can't pretend you're not there, Paul.
Paul? Where did you go? I saw you there before. Did you leave?
He's there. I see.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Got it.
Okay, talk to us.
I think it would be fascinating to have Paul talk about how all the different languages were achieved and about some of the difficulties he had in people trying to decide what images to use, because he wrote me about that recently, about what should be the symbol for each of the religions. And I think it would be a great way of learning about how different people responded to the Golden Rule poster. What do you think, Paul?
I think that's the best offer I've had this evening.
Oh, you mean the only offer?
I'll just say the best offer. I'd be happy to do that. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Paul.
Great, 4 people. Okay, so another thing I was thinking of, maybe we can even do an interfaith prayer service online. That might be interesting. Like so each, we have different faith traditions here. So each of us can maybe offer a small prayer or a reading or a musical piece, or we can think of other things as well. And then we'll have a service, pray for peace or other other themes if we want. So that will be another idea. So what do you think? Raise vote. Okay, let me write it out and then I'll see the votes. Don't lower your hand. Sid, are you in for this one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Nice. This is the one we have most so far, seems like. So any other ideas that you think we can do other than dialogues? Dialogue we're going to talk about next. Events wise?
Do you mean in person or online?
Well, you can think of both. So we have the ideas done when we reopens, then we can do in person.
Are we all across Canada or are we all here in Ontario?
I haven't had the chance to look actually.
We have someone from Japan tonight.
Yeah, we have someone from Tokyo. Yeah.
Not only from Japan, also from tomorrow.
Where is that?
Japan is in tomorrow right now.
Yeah, that's right.
It's already tomorrow morning.
Oh yes, that's true.
So funny.
My God, welcome for all the way from Japan. It's amazing. So how did you hear about this event?
So I heard from the Interfaith Harmony Week website.
Yes.
We also do some music for peace, love, and peace and unity. And we joined last year. So that's why I searched. And then I learned about Ruth, and I'm so inspired and amazed by her beautiful work. So I really wanted to join to learn more about her beautiful work. And greetings to everyone. So I really want to go to Toronto.
Yeah, and this is only the beginning of our Interfaith Circle. So we're going to have more events like this in the future, as well as having dialogue and building friendships with each other. So you can send me your just private chat me your email address, and if you want, we have a WhatsApp group too. You want to put your phone number there, we can do that as well. Yeah. You can private chat me so other people won't see it. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah. Oh, I love the flowers behind you. Okay, so if there's no other event ideas, I was thinking of just give me a moment because my computer is dying out of battery. I have to plug it in. So the next, so oftentimes what we do as a group is we have a dialogue dialogue meetings. Oh, by the way, Earls and Shansa, is that an actual hand up or you just forgot to lower your hand?
I forgot. Hang on.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so Oh, potluck. I like that. Shyla suggested a potluck. You know what? I think we can do an intercultural potluck. We bring our own, bring a food from our own tradition, our own cultural background tradition, and then we can share. That's
when Father Damien wants to say something.
Yeah, Vivian.
Yes.
I'm wondering how appropriate it might be if you're going to do an interfaith prayer service. What would it be like if we did it with regards to the urgency of the Russia-Ukrainian situation in the world? And that may gather a lot of quick and immediate attention. Just a
That's
suggestion.
true. Oh yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Father Damien. And I'll probably have to find you to talk more about this situation. I'm so outdated.
Excuse me, Vivian.
Yes?
I have to leave, my friends, and I just want to say that I've so enjoyed being with all of you, and keep up the good work. And Vivian, you're a wonderful, inspiring leader, and I hope to be in touch with all of you, and musically and otherwise.
Yes, definitely. We will
Thank you so
definitely keep
much.
in touch and collaborate and do something together. Thank you, Ruth, for
Okay,
being
thank
here.
you
It's
so much.
wonderful.
God bless
Thanks for
everyone.
being so inspiring.
So my
Thanks,
final,
Ruth.
thank you. My final word is be interfaithful and multiply.
That's what we're trying to do, to rebuild
Thank
our
you
group.
very much.
Thanks, Ruth. Have a good night. Okay,
Yes, I
so
will say good night too, and thank you very much. It was excellent, and so look forward to the future. Father
thank
Damien.
you, Father Damien.
Okay, good night now.
Good night, Father Damien. Okay, so let's see a
Good to
race
see you,
of,
Father Damien.
yeah.
Hey,
Who's
Father
this?
Damien. Yes.
Yeah, good to see you, Father Damien.
Hey, I didn't see you there. Okay.
Earl's
next
lead,
time we'll
John
get
Joseph's
connected.
here too.
Oh my.
Good to
Yeah.
see you,
Times,
Joseph.
huh?
And Habib.
Good to see you, John.
Good night now. Thanks again. Good to hear
Yes.
you.
Good to see you, Earl.
Yes.
Good to see
Hey,
you,
brother.
Paul.
Okay, guys, we're not leaving yet.
Good to see you, Sid.
You gotta wrap it up soon.
I know, we still have a couple more minutes. We're not leaving yet. Hold on. So quickly, potluck, raise a hand. How many people wants to do a potluck? When we can do it.
Get together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
no, it
we
won't be
can do
now.
it, but it's
Yeah,
going to
it's
be a
when we can
while.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do a potluck, but yeah, when it's safe. There's a plague.
So many two people. Okay, so including Nick. Okay, so now any dialogue topic that you want to listen to, like, because we don't have much time, maybe we can just think of one topic that we want to do a dialogue on for the next one of our next dialogue meeting. So dialogue meetings are basically we're learning from each other's faith traditions what you believe in on that topic. For example, like one time we can talk about marriage, right? Or you can talk about the different traditions within the tradition. That's an interesting one. Or sometimes we talk about Easter for Christians, and the other faith traditions, people from the other faith traditions will learn about that. So quickly, one.
Oh, one.
What do you think?
Yes. Okay, I had the hand up with it, although that was from the other one. But still,
I'm just
I
picking
don't
on
know.
you.
How about something like, how can we make each other happier? How can we, something like that. How can we
Joy.
uplift each other? Joy. How
Mhm.
can we be joyous?
Be joyful. Okay,
Yeah.
and Kareem? Kareem? Yeah, we can't hear you. Say something. You're unmuted though. Is your mic working? Oh, now you're muted again. You can type in the chat box too if you want.
Why don't you type in chat? I think Amy had a suggestion as well.
Oh yeah, what, Amy? Amy still here with us? Okay, maybe not.
She says sorry, no.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. Okay, so that's an interesting topic, and that can follow up. We can follow up that dialogue, or we can do the movie night of documentary I told you about, and then we can follow up with the joy dialogue. That's an idea. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to let you know that I'm going to copy and paste a bunch of things now. So this is how you stay in touch with us. Make sure you to join our group. Okay, so we have a WhatsApp group. So if you want to join that, you actually need to send me your phone number, so we can do that. You can private chat, you can private message me in the chat for that, and you can send me your email as well. Put your email there if I don't have it already. And also we have a Facebook page, a group. It's a Facebook group, by the way, it's not a page. So that's when we connect with each other and keep each other up to date on what's happening in our lives, but also the events that you may want to share with us and you may want us to join you with, and also upcoming events and resources we can share as well. And we can do a certain level of dialogue there on Facebook, but it's obviously not as good as like this, when we can see each other face to face, even though it's online. Kareem, you got your mic working? Maybe not. No worries, feel free to type in the chat and I now say it for you. Okay, so I think this is good. So we're proposing a next meeting on Wednesday, March 23rd at 7 p.m. That's our, it will be on Zoom again. And based on your votes and whatever is reasonable, we're going to decide on what we're doing next. It will be one of the things that we voted on. So we actually, well, dialogue we're always going to do, so don't worry. So we'll do that one. So mark your date for the next meeting, which March 3rd. I'm going to type it in the chat right now, by the way. So mark your date for this, and remember to join us. And I may do a Zoom event, not the Zoom, another Eventbrite thing, so you have it. Oh, Micah shared some music from our group. Oh, thank you very much, Micah, for sharing the music. We're going to listen to it. Yeah. So Micah, did you send me your contact information so I can add you to our group?
Sure, I sent you in my email and my phone number. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't keep up with the chat here. Okay, so maybe so once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I don't want to keep you over time. And I'm sure we have a lot more to dialogue about, a lot more to build on, and that's why we're going to have a ongoing group. And I look forward to see you in our next meeting. And thank you, Nick, again for doing all the Zoom tech work. And we're going to end with Sid. Are you ready to play your harmonica?
You're kind of late, but if you want me to play, I'll play.
Yes, please. We're going to end with Sid playing harmonica for us.
I'll play just Danny Boy, okay?
Okay.
There.
Right, thank you, Sid.
Bravo, Sid. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid.
World Interfaith Harmony Week would not be complete without your playing the harmonica for us. And
I know,
hello,
right?
Reverend Earl. Nice to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being. I'm so happy to have joined today. I can tell you.
Thank you. That was a beautiful. Enjoyed it very much. Nice job, Vivian.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm just responding
Yeah.
to Kareem. Yeah, thank you, Kareem, for joining us. I'm glad we have a Sufi Muslim with us tonight. And we have a
Thanks,
Baha'i
Vivian, for putting it
too.
all
Yeah.
together too.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, well done, Vivian. I'll see some of you later on this week. Thank you very
Yes,
much,
for sure. Yeah,
Vivian.
keep going to the
Yeah,
Interfaith Harmony Week events.
Yeah, just for everybody's sake, if you tune into our interfaith service on Sunday, we're going to be presenting Paul McKenna with an Interfaith Champion Award. So that's a St. Philip's thing. Look for interfaithtoronto.ca, our events page. We can link right to it.
Yeah, I typed it all in the chat already.
Thank you much,
You're
Vivian. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, have a good
I'm
evening,
going
everyone.
to stop the recording now, but
Yeah,
I'm going to
thank
hold the
you.
room open in case anybody just wants to hang around. I'm
Yes,
not going to
yes,
chase you
please.
out.